It's not that hard a task. Now, the biggest problem you face is corruption in the courts. That's actually the biggest problem. Okay, a lot of judges have been bought out, straight out. Just here, let me pay you. Let me give you some vacation money to make sure that the plaintiff doesn't win this case. Or some of these judges have realized that their pension funds are very deeply and very heavily invested in mortgage-backed securities. So with every title they quiet, they damage their own retirement fund. That is clearly a conflict of interest. It's very difficult to prove. I mean, you can all judges and all public workers, anybody on the public payroll is supposed to have their financial information made public. So if you can get your hands on the retirement package for the judge that you're going in front of, that could be some very strong leverage. You could actually recuse the judge.
Or I guess in the case of one of your friends actually got a hold of the judge's mortgage.
Yeah.
All right, we got a break here. Just stay right there. Back in just a minute with more on the Mike Chambers Radio program. All right, we're back here on the Mike Chambers Radio program. Steve Skidmore and Vickie in California with us. We're talking about home foreclosures and these mortgages and modifications. And Steve, to a lot of people, you get the idea that these modifications would be helping folks, and it's been a lot in the news. Get your loan modification if you're in trouble, but in reality, that's turned out not to be the case.
No, in reality, it's a trap. 9 out of 10 modifications come out on the back end with the homeowner having a higher payment rather than a lower payment, if they are fortunate enough to get the modification before they're foreclosed on. This brings up a very, very important fact. Let me go back to the REMIC. REMIC is REMIC. That's a Real Estate Mortgage Investment Conduit. This is a pass-through tax status for the investors. In the mortgage-backed securities pools, there are 10,000, no more than 10,000 mortgages in each securities pool. When we go to the pooling and servicing agreements and we go to the IRS REMIC statutes, we find that a pool manager cannot modify more than 5% of any of the mortgage-backed assets in that pool. So that means only 500 out of 10,000 people are going to get their loans modified. If the manager does allow more than 5% of the mortgages in that pool to be modified, the investors lose their pass-through tax status, and they're held liable on all the capital gains tax that they would have paid throughout the life of their investment. This would make the pool servicing manager liable for destroying that REMIC status. So what these modification companies and banks are doing is they're trying to leverage their client. They're not trying very hard, but they're trying to leverage the client into the position where they might be the next one to get a modification. In other words, if you're a homeowner waiting for a modification, you are in a position that is no different from a 79-year-old man on life support waiting for a 21-year-old kid to wrap his crotch rocket around a light pole so that 79-year-old guy can have his heart. You're waiting on the only way that the pool servicer can modify another loan in that securities pool is to foreclose on somebody in that pool, jerk that foreclosed property out of the pool, put a new one back in there of equal or greater value. Now they can go back in and modify somebody else's mortgage. So in giving that heart donor recipient kind of analogy, if you're waiting on a modification, if you're hoping for a modification, you're actually hoping that someone else gets foreclosed on and kicked out of their house before you do. And in these now, particularly with the HAMP program, this is the Obama Home Affordable Plan, okay, the HAMP program. There are hold harmless clauses in that HAMP program, as where if an individual does receive a loan modification and they find out an egregious amount of fraud later on, too bad, you signed away your right to sue. You've agreed to hold them harmless.
And so at that point, you're at their mercy.
You're screwed. Yes,
Yeah,
you're at their mercy. I mean, excuse the vernacular, but it fits.
My granny said, "Is it your SOL?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And she didn't use initials.
Bless her heart.
Yeah, she was rather straightforward about things. Bless her heart. Yeah. But again, we take a lot of what is sold in the media, and it's like, hey, if you got a problem, and I mean the news media all over America, even our very own supposed president, known as the Squatter at 1600, little Barry Soetoro, telling people, go get your modification, get down there right now. And so you see how broad the fraud is, that if it even extends into the White House, here's what we're doing, telling people to do this, and all what you're doing is, no, you're not getting a better deal. Two, you're not getting relief, but in the end, you've sold away all your rights.
Mm-hmm. And here's another deal. I've got a lot of clients that come to me and say, "Man, I've been trying for 2 years to get a modification. I've had to submit this application 6 times now." Well, why is that? In the HAMP program, whoever submits that application, this would be the mortgage servicer, whoever submits that application to HAMP gets a handsome little fee for having brought them this opportunity, to the tune of $7,500 to $10,000 per application. So it's no wonder you didn't fill this out right, or you didn't send this document, or, oh, we sent you the wrong one. Let's do this again and again and again and again and again. It's because they get paid every time you do it over.
Right, yeah. Just the cash register, racket. Open it and close it. Exactly. Well, the whole thing's a racket.
Sure.
I mean, when this started with Roland Arnold and his little bank there in Orange County, California, and then it built on and on and on and on. This is, I mean, here's one guy that you would expect to see in jail, but no, he's dead now. But he and his cohorts, have enjoyed quite a good life on the backs and the pain and the misery of millions of people in this country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they say he's dead, but then they say Ken Lay's dead too,
and Saddam and Tim McVeigh. I think Osama's with them.
I sure hope they're all enjoying their Mai Tais.
Well, yeah, but topless waitresses, the whole 9 yards. Me too. Mm-hmm. So, Vickie, now when is your next hearing?
Stray off.
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm sitting here with a picnic table in the living room and a chair, which is papers everywhere. I'm trying to put together some sort of an injunction or something to put in front, and a temporary restraining order for Monday. We go to court on Monday. We have to have this filed with the Deutsche Bank by Friday so that they have notice. So I am just buried in paperwork here trying to figure out what the next step is to stop this insanity. Our problem that we had last month, and this is how crazy it gets when you're not familiar with legal terms, we were supposed to file a complaint against Deutsche Bank, and I've got another 1 through 25 does that we can't really afford to serve yet, but we've tried to file a complaint, turn the tables on them. We have not been able to find who to serve. Deutsche Bank, of course, their attorneys are, Orange County seems to be the pit of whatever, because everything revolves around Orange County in California. We have served their attorney that's on the unlawful detainer, but they refused service on the complaint because they said we're not the right representatives to do this. So we asked them, well, who do we serve? They will not give us a name. I went through the Secretary of State's office. I've now sent in a form and paid the $4, and I'm waiting for this form to come back, but they are not registered in the state of California through the Secretary of State's office even to be doing business here that we can find. So and now to get on the internet, guys, and try to find Deutsche Bank and find out who a person is to serve, and I think our case is balancing on the fact that we've served somebody a complaint. We can't serve those that we can't find. A corporation's a piece of paper. We need a body to process serve that complaint, and we can't find one. So Monday, we're going to look pretty bad going into court, and we haven't been able to do this in the last 3 weeks because we can't find an attorney or a person to serve. And this is one of the things the judge is going to look at on Monday is, are we following through with our complaint? Well, we're sure trying, but we can't find the proper person to serve. One gentleman... I hope so, because one gentleman said, I have to go to Sweden. I have to get a hold of the CEO in Switzerland or Sweden or somewhere. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do that by Monday. There's no way.
Now, do a securities audit. That'll tell you who the real party in interest is. It'll a level 3 securities audit will tell you who the real party in interest is and exactly where the note is. It'll pull up the pooling and servicing agreement to show you everything that went wrong in the securities process, in the securitization process.
Steve, is that a level 3 security audit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, everybody stay right there. We got a break here. We'll come back in a minute with more. If you want to join us, 866-841-1065. That's 866-841-1065 or 512-904-8014. Tuesday edition of the program. Back in just a second. Back here on the Mike Chambers radio program. Steve Skidmore of endlessfrauddetection.com. If you've got to check his website out. If your home is in any danger of being foreclosed, whether even if it's not, you need to get a forensic loan audit and have it looked at. It could save you a whole lot of hassle down the road as to what's going to make sure what you've got is real. Otherwise, why keep paying on something that's not real?
Thank you.
You're not going to get anything out of it in the end anyway. We got Vickie with us. Vickie's from California. She has gone through this mess, is in this mess, and has been for the last 3 years as this beat has rolled on and on and on and on. And I guess, Vickie, it's fair to say you guys have tried to do this on your own, and you've been met with more closed doors than open doors.
Well, and the thing is that, yeah, we are trying to do this on our own, only it's not because we haven't tried to find an attorney. We find that there's 3 fields of attorneys here. We have those that are just way too busy to even look at anything else. We have those that are just so uneducated about this entire housing problem that's cropped up. It's just hit everybody so quick. They've been blindsided and they don't understand it, so they don't have that area of expertise. And then the other ones, they want 20 grand up front, before they'll even talk to you. So out of those 3 groups of attorneys, we've not been able to find anybody that can actually sit down and look at this and help even walk us through. If we did the legwork, we've done a lot of the legwork, but it's just overwhelming. It is just so very overwhelming to try to learn the procedures even through courtrooms. So, my heart goes out to these millions of people that have lost their homes because I see exactly what transpired. Once you leave your home thinking, well, I'm going to go back, I'm going to file suit, I'm going to open this wide open because I see what's happened here, I see the corruption, you'll never have time to do it. You're exhausted. You're trying to get your lights and power back on. You're trying to move your children into new schools. Life takes over once again, and you never get that chance to bring this out to the public.
Steve?
That's how it's designed.
Yeah, just to physically wear you out.
Yes. Now, Vickie, I wholeheartedly agree with you in the aspect of the 3 different categorizations of attorneys. Excuse me. Now, if you were you'd mentioned doing a lot of the legwork. If you were to position yourself where you could do 90% of that attorney's job for them, you shouldn't be hearing 20 grand retainer fee. You shouldn't be hearing, there's nothing we can do for you. The paperwork that we provide is very, very self-explanatory. All an attorney has to do is take the time to sit down and read it. Read it like a novel. Start with the forensic mortgage audit. You see how it was never enforceable. Start with go back to the securities audit. You see where these people are committing fraud upon the court by taking the action of foreclosure when they're not the real party in interest. We go to the rules of civil procedure, Rule 17A in the federal rules, in where it starts off by saying that an action must be prosecuted in the name of the real party in interest. These actions are taken in the name of, always prosecuted in the name of the servicer. This is fraudulent misrepresentation to the courts. Attorneys can lose their bar cards over this kind of mess. Sanctioned. You sanction the party who misrepresented themselves. Then you go to the complaint. You've got everything done for the